Remember, the way you treat anyone is the way you treat everyone. And that applies to work relationships, family relationships. Jesus did not make a difference between Jews and Gentiles in a sense. He treated everyone with love and respect and dignity. He was speaking the truth, whether he was the woman by the well, or the Pharisees and Sadducees, or his own disciples. But there is this constant theme of treating everyone with respect, with dignity, with grace. And that has been a motivation for me in raising my children and in helping my clients. How do we treat everyone the way we treat anyone?
Welcome to the In Pursuit Of podcast, brought to you by CBHN, the Christian Business Harvest Network. These episodes highlight and celebrate those who are passionately pursuing their God-given purposes, leaning into our faith to rise and challenge the boundaries of possibilities.
Thank you, my friend, Dr. Asatryan, for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you, Shiraz.
Well, beyond that smile, beyond the intellect, beyond the brains, I really want our audience to be able to get to know you and the work that you do. What is your current role at Redeemer?
So I'm an associate professor of business, mainly focusing on marketing, economics. I teach international business and entrepreneurship all the years, first year through the fourth. I'm also a fellow at a research center here.
So how does someone then who has a passion for ethics, economics, the way that business works in Russia, graduated from Ohio State, end up at Redeemer? Because that's a world journey that you're still connected to and have a passion for. And we're going to talk about all your other appointments in a moment. But how'd you land?
I think I often think of this and as I reflect back on how God landed me. It has been an amazing journey. I grew up in the former Soviet Union. In 99, after I completed my undergraduate, I got a scholarship to come to the US and study for my master's. And I really enjoyed my experience in the US, continued with my doctorate degree, and taught for a number of years, worked a number of years in the US, in Maine, and then opportunity came up at Redeemer. And I thought that the idea of teaching in a Christian university and pursuing scholarship from Christian perspective and helping in the process of edification of my students had been very exciting, a new concept to me. So I thought I'll jump into it.
Where is it that you get your energy from? Because, man, it can be tiring when you have all these people pulling. And it's not like there's a reinvestment into you. Students aren't built that way, nor are they supposed to. But where do you get that flow from where you're constantly in, out, in, out, in, out? Where did that love come from?
I think the students are the motivation, but I think what is beyond that is just the joy of understanding the importance of the work that I do in small roles that I take to be a champion of my students, to be a fan of them. I mean, every time I see an opportunity, right, for them to flourish, taking them with me to ELO, the Entrepreneurial Leadership Conference, creating opportunities for them for grants and scholarships to pursue different programs, study abroad, and so on. I think I just enjoy seeing other people flourish and get excited about opportunities and finding ways in which they can capitalize on those. Just kind of drives me.
That is fantastic. And I don't think everybody's wired that way, right? To want to see the best in others. And I think you and I have both experiences. Sometimes the fruit that we want to experience or see grows on the tree of others. And we don't mind that. There's something about getting 5% of their blessing. Maybe, I don't know, that's my contract with God, 5% of everybody else. But joking aside, I just want to get some quick rapid fire questions for you. Are you ready? Because I want these people to know who you are. I've had the privilege of hanging out with you, and you've afforded me the privilege of joining in some of your classes and teaching some modules. So that's been fun. And so I get to see beyond the bow tie. People will see the intellect. People will see the bow tie. Wow, you got to be really smart to wear a bow tie. And buddy, you rock that bow tie really well. So, first question, are you ready? Just like out of left field, folks, this is not prep or prepared. This is just like raw. Here we go. Are you ready? Spicy or sweet?
Spicy.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
Your favorite restaurant?
Ooh, any restaurant that serves Japanese food. Sushi.
Yep.
I love it.
Okay. Sashimi or sushi? More on the
All of
fish.
it.
All of it.
Variety
Okay.
is the spice of
Okay.
life.
Uh, Favorite subject, not to teach, but to sit under and learn.
History.
Really? Okay. 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 And your favorite quote?
I think I'll go back to my favorite poet. Khalil Gibran has a good phrase: "Your friends are your needs answered." And I pondered about that. Like, what do I have with my friends, and how do I answer their needs as they attend to mine?
Okay, so you're flipping the script here. You're saying if we're looking at it from ourselves as a center of that gravitational concept,
Mhm.
we're seeing other people serving our needs. But if in fact we are friends to others, how are we serving their needs? Is that kind of how you flip this script?
Yeah, yeah. The more I pondered about that, the more I can say, yes, I can see how my friends answer my needs. Well, how am I returning a favor, not to those particular friends, but to other friends that I've had? And I think I see a deeper connection with the friend we have in Jesus Christ. Right? How does he attend to our needs? And how do we then reflect that kind of need serving behavior into the world, whether we have close friends or the friends we find in our regular?
When you're talking about serving others, right? There's this whole concept of mentorship. And it's like people always want a mentor. Oh, it became a fad maybe 10, 15 years ago, 5 years ago. We're like, hey, I need a mentor. I need a mentor. I don't believe in it. So I wanted to get your thoughts. I don't believe in the concept of a mentorship if it's going to be one way. Mentorship is like, I've always had people, hey, Shiraz, can you? My thought is not a selfish thing. It's not a what's in it for me, but it's like, okay, what are you going to bring to the table? And you're probably always surrounded by students that are like, oh, can you spend time with me? Can you spend time with me? But what are they willing to do to add and beautify that connection and relationship? And in the absence of it, you're just being used. How do you measure that thought? And I'm not saying it's a truth or an absolute, but how do you measure that thought against, well, shouldn't we just openly serve all who ask?
I think becoming a mentee for younger people, I think, is a much more challenging task these days that I notice than us being a mentor. So I think I often find as I seek out, part of my job is literally to advise students to be their mentor. And I have seen a shift in the last few years. And perhaps that's because I am more actively pursuing those mentorship opportunities for my students, becoming more available. I see that a well-ripened fruit is not necessarily always picked. So what I'm meaning by that is
Mm.
that we need to cultivate fruit pickers. We need to encourage. I find it. I have more opportunities than I have students. And granted, we are small institutions, but I have dozens and dozens of students. What my challenge is then is to help them understand what is it like to be mentee, to ask to be mentored. Um, because through very experience here, I mean, you are one of the executives in residence in our program. We have dozens of people who are make themselves available to help students with their career advice, with the help with projects, real life client projects, and so on. So how do I encourage students to make it a habit to connect with a mentor, to become a self-mentoring mentee?
Love it. Love it. And just to go back to one of the concepts you're talking about ripe fruit. Uh, yeah, it's true. just because fruit grows on the same tree does not mean that it all ripens at the same time.
And that it will be picked.
You see, that's one of the reasons why I enjoy spending time with you, because we get to uh, think a little deeper. But a part of that has to do with being able to hear a little bit more clearly. Well, you can't hear if life is cluttered all the time. How do you find time with everybody pulling on you to just be able to soak for yourself, by yourself, with yourself, and to be able to develop the depth of knowledge that you have, regardless of the subject matter and your relationship with God? How do you protect that?
I think it does take quite of effort and commitment. I do love people. I think I do get recharged from being around people and talking to them. And I recognize that I do need to set aside times where I am by myself. I like corporate prayer, participating in various morning activities. I set aside time, getting up very early to devote myself as much as I can before the distractions of the world start to get in touch with the Lord. I think kind of living by motto, not a day. I think not a day that needs to pass that I don't immerse myself in one way or the other in the scripture, however brief that might be, and the reflection of my relationship with God, prayer, or just a simple reflection on how God is present, a daily basis, hourly basis in my life. And those are the micro moments of solitude that I think are helpful as well.
That's fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, we're in conversation with Dr. Asatryan of Redeemer University. When we come back, we're going to talk about, from the short break, we're going to talk about two things: the concepts of entrepreneurship and what he's doing outside of his 9 to 5. We'll be right back.
My name is Siddique.
Hey, it's Tracy Mighty.
Hi, my name is Albert Brandstetter. I am an investment advisor with National Bank Financial. I've been an advisor for over 35 years.
And the CBHN community has allowed me to connect with like-minded professionals that have helped reshape my career goals with the added benefit of strengthening my faith journey.
And CBHN has helped me uncover and rediscover the passion for entrepreneurship.
And I have to tell you, what I have learned and gleaned from the others who are part of CBHN has brought me to new heights, not just in my career, but personal life as well.
Come to CBHN every Thursday at 7 p.m. and you will see the amazing promises of God that He has for your life come to pass.
I think you should take a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, well done. A Passionate Pursuit of Purpose is now available. This book was written so you don't have to leave your eternity to chance. It's for someone who is a little restless and simply looking for their next move, but doesn't know where to begin. If you feel like there is still more in your court to explore, and you want to experience the fullness of what was deposited within your DNA, then well done. A Passionate Pursuit of Purpose could be the very tool you need to send you in the direction of your destiny. Available now on Amazon and welldonebook.info. That's welldonebook.info.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Of course, today we're in conversation with Dr. Asatryan. Not only is he a professor at Redeemer University, but there's so much more. And let's get into that much more. Now, recently, there have been a number of appointments, massive appointments that you've been fortunate to be selected for and to. Can you tell us about at least a couple of those? Because you're a busy guy these days.
Yeah, well, that's part of my job, to get myself busy. I think academics are perhaps most entrepreneurial because we kind of create our own work, our own set of expectations. We develop academic plans and so on. So, and opportunities come, and sometimes we become nominated for those. So last year I was approached to apply and become the next research fellow at the Al Walters Center for Christian Scholarship here at Redeemer, and I considered it and applied, and I am the fellow now responsible for guiding the research agenda of the center in the social sciences, in business, and so on, and then as well mentoring other faculty members and helping them master the doing of the scholarship from a Christian perspective.
Okay, and
Well, I do publish, I do present at conferences and so on, and that's when when the network grows, so does the set of opportunities. I review papers for others as well. So now I'm in the stage of my career where I shift more into the contribution. So I was invited to be an editor for faith integration for a Christian education journal. And that part of the job, in a sense, requires me to read papers, give feedback, mentor, in a sense, the scholars who have provided their papers, opportunities for improvement, and then preparing them for the publication in the journal.
There's this concept of having time, like I don't know if I have the time, versus making the time. You mentioned, I think majority of people listening in either have their own business or the concept of time is different for those. But for those who are, career minded and focused 9 to 5, you mentioned getting up early and setting your day, getting up early. So there's this concept of the side hustle that you do. So you work your 9 to 5, and then what you do from 5 to 9 p.m. matters, and you get your side hustle on. We refer to it as not your side hustle, but developing your side muscle. So you can flex the giftings of God within you. So develop your side muscle for sure. But I love what you're saying. It's not about the 9 to 5 and then the 5 to 9. What about the precursor to all of that, your 5 a.m. to 9 a.m.? I'm not asking people to be morning people, but there's so much power packed and so much clarity in the quiet of your 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. that you can really get done. Even if it's 6 to 8:30, that 2.5 hours is so potent and powerful. And you referred to that early. Because someone might question, okay, well, how does he have time for all this?
I don't. I think it's a challenge. It's a balance. I think what I have learned is that I need to make my decisions carefully, and there's more than one or two opportunities that come at a time, and I have learned that I need to wisely decline some offers, however lucrative they are, because I've committed some others, and I think I that's how I find time. I am very also committed to my family, to my children, to my wife, and even though I'm sort of 9 to 5 and 5 to 9, that's till next morning, because sometimes some of my clients are working internationally, so I have to be on calls at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. Doesn't happen too often, of course, but I think guarding that at that time and understanding that um, protecting my boundaries, protecting my time for Sabbath, and for spending my time with my closest friends and my family in particular is of utmost importance.
So when you refer to uh, the concepts and the constructs of time, how do you get the most out of your time?
I think I try to schedule my time based on priorities,
Okay.
based on project management, in a sense, techniques that I learned. But I also want to leave time for relationship, because it seems to me, the business
Hmm.
can wait, in a sense,
Okay.
oftentimes. I think the relationship, oftentimes, perhaps that's just how I am built. Spending that time with a colleague who just dropped by and asks important questions, even not important personal questions, or encouraging students to come in and speak to me, is what I think I enjoyed the most. I don't have to be the most accomplished, the most published, the most cited author, and so on. But I think I want to be most often thought of friend and colleague with whom people can find time to open up, to share, and to grow together.
Yeah, there certainly is a badge available if you want it for most available. That would be amazing to be able to do that. It was recently pointed out to me that you will be hard pressed to find an example of Jesus in a hurry,
Mm.
Jesus rushing to his next appointment. As a matter of fact, Lazarus is dead. He's like, yeah, I'll see you soon. It's we don't see him in a hurry, yet our lifestyles can be a little rushed at times. One of the ways that I have found, Dr. Satrian, is when I step back, I can allow others to step in. When I step back, I can allow God to step in. So I taking my hands off the wheel. All right, Jesus, take the wheel, so to speak, right? Uh, Sometimes we need expertise to step in and take the wheel. Sometimes we need people who know better and have been there, done that to take the wheel. Who is the ideal client or customer that you serve from a consulting perspective? What problems are you solving? What ideation are you bringing to bear for people when they bring you on as a consultant for their business? Where do you spend your time investing from that perspective, building up your practice?
Yeah, I think of a variety of aspects. I think some of my favorite projects deal with cultural transformations. I help organizations at times reconfigure or figure out their culture and how to improve it. What kind of practices are needed? What kind of revisions, if not on policies, but at least in ways in which they build culture, positive culture, virtue-oriented culture, results-oriented culture that creates an environment in which people enjoy coming to work and contributing. Other areas, whether it be in mining or in the environmental biodegradable plastics, I try to find opportunities where Christians, but others as well, can find ways in which they can be stewardly toward the environment, whether it be the best practices, again, in biodegradable plastics that I mentioned, or dust suppression solutions. I mean, there is a variety of areas that I'm in, and I see that there is a great need in the world for energy efficient solutions and so on. And finding those opportunities, making those unusual connections, I think is becoming or has become a bit of my niche and gift, if you will.
Ladies and gentlemen, well done. A Passionate Pursuit of Purpose is now available. This book was written so you don't have to leave your eternity to chance. It's for someone who is a little restless and simply looking for their next move, but doesn't know where to begin. If you feel like there is still more in your court to explore, and you want to experience the fullness of what was deposited within your DNA, then well done. A Passionate Pursuit of Purpose could be the very tool you need to send you in the direction of your destiny. Available now on Amazon and welldonebook.info. That's welldonebook.info.
Culture is huge, and it's not like you can just come in and change a number on a spreadsheet. Bingo, bango, we're done. There is an investment of time and energy and intent to be able to retransform. As we wrap up, what's one thing that a clean and clear takeaway that you feel that is something that you've always considered and anyone can really apply in perhaps their relationship with others or their relationship with God?
Sure. And first thing it came up when you mentioned your family, and I tell my children, so I have boys and girls, right? So I tell my children is that remember, the way you treat anyone is the way you treat everyone.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that applies to work relationships, family relationships. Jesus did not make a difference between Jews and Gentiles in a sense. He treated everyone with love and respect and dignity. He was speaking the truth, whether he was the woman by the well, or the Pharisees and Sadducees, or his own disciples. But there is this constant theme of treating everyone with respect, with dignity, with grace.
Okay.
And that has been sort of motivation for me in raising my children and in helping my clients. How do we treat everyone the way we treat anyone?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why Redeemer is fortunate and blessed to have Dr. Asatryan on staff, because he cares about his students. It invites you into the conversation of how you care about anyone is how you care about anyone. How you treat anyone is how you treat everyone. If you were to evaluate your interactions in the culture that you create or the value that you add to your culture, if you were to measure it, is there room for improvement? Is there an opportunity for you to do and be more of God in more places and spaces that you reside? And if there is, the challenge is out there for you. Go do and be everything that the love of God would want to have represented through your life. Dr. Asatryan, thank you for joining us. And one last question, as always, right? Because I always have this question for every guest. What are you really in pursuit of?
I'd say I'm in pursuit of beauty and grace. I think when I look at the gospel, when I look at the message of Christ and his redemptive story, sin has really marred and the creation is growing. We are all growing. And I think there is this beauty in the message of salvation, that God is going to make it all new and all beautiful again. And I think I love watching those moments of sort of redemptive moments of beauty when something that is broken or was broken is renewed again, reformed again in a sense, and is moving in a direction that is consistent with God's will or his normative laws for it. I've dedicated a lifetime of research and many years to come and sort of trying to unpack that in many various aspects of this and to share with my students and others how beautiful this can be.
That's amazing. Thank you, Dr. Asatryan, for investing in our audience in a worthwhile way.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on the In Pursuit Of podcast. Definitely follow us on our socials and consider this your personal invitation to join our Thursday night CBHN Zoom calls at 7 p.m. EST as we challenge each other to pursue the fullness of what God has for our lives. And remember, Matthew 7:7 says, "Seek and you'll find." We pray you too will walk in the fullness of your purposes.